Michigan football on Sunday, jersey retirement for an iconic alumni, Steve Mariucci. What does that mean for the program? What does that mean for Northern Michigan?
Oh, it's great. Coach Mariucci is such an iconic symbol for the program, and everything that he gave when he was here as a student athlete, and what they were able to accomplish with that team in 1975, and just what his career has been too. Being able to climb the ranks in NFL coaching, and now, with what he does, still being involved with the NFL, and just his support for our program too. I got to meet him back when I was a student athlete here, and then been able to stay in touch with him obviously over the coaching years, and now that I'm back here, we stay in touch pretty regularly, and he's been a great supporter and just a great fan of mine, and I can't thank him enough for that, and just a great human being, and really excited and proud for his moment, and great opportunity for our program to be recognized in that way.
I'm just trying to follow that up, and it's like there's only so many good things you can say about Mooch that you run out of words after a while.
Coach, I'll jump in. Obviously not the result that you wanted. When you're facing a Division I team on your home turf, it's different than facing a GLIAC opponent or maybe another regional Division II opponent. Were there any nerves going into that game, leading up to it, just because it is different than facing a normal Division II?
I think our vibe all week was excited. I think our guys really rallied around the opportunity that we get to showcase something. I think we've learned great lessons throughout the last 2 years in terms of taking on big opponents. I go back to 2 years ago when we went to Big Rapids. Our team was not remotely ready to take on Ferris State in that environment, and it showed. I mean, we had a team that really didn't understand what courage was all about to go and take on an opponent of that magnitude. And I think from that point on, we started to learn and grow in terms of how to face opponents, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter what they were, whatever the tags were on these teams, right? And I think what you see now is, in year 3, we don't have a team that's scared or cowering away from a team that we face, and I really am so proud of our team that the way we approached that game, the way our mentality was. I think we looked at it as an opportunity that we could take advantage of, and I think you saw that on the field. I mean, our guys went out there and we punched and we fought and we competed, and obviously need to know how to finish and close out games better. But we were doing a lot of really good things out there, and there was no back down in our attitudes or the way that we approached that opponent on Saturday. And so give St. Thomas a lot of credit. I mean, you look at their previous 2 games and what they've done, in terms of playing quality FCS opponents, and you go back to our game, and I mean, just the fact that we were able to stick with them and being able to control the game in a lot of ways on both sides of the ball. And really proud of our team for doing that, and obviously still want to make sure that we stick to a standard of trying to get to where we want to be too.
What was the feeling after that game? I mean, it didn't feel like a 20-7 game. It felt really close all the way to the very end. So what was the feeling for your guys going out of that game and coming into this week?
Yeah, I think when we go back, we looked at the film. We spent all day yesterday kind of breaking that down as a team, and there were a few plays, right? I mean, you go 3 to 5 plays, and I kind of have a theory that pretty much every game is affected by 3 to 5 plays, kind of no matter what the score is, and you go back to Saturday, and that's really what it was. Until about 6 minutes and 10 seconds left, I thought things were really in our favor in a lot of ways, and then we kind of made some poor decisions. We muffed the punt there. It started to kind of feel like, man, what are we doing there? And we couldn't really quite get the ball in the end zone like we needed to. We couldn't convert on some 3rd and 4th downs like we needed to offensively, like we probably normally would have. Defensively, we gave up a couple big plays at the end there that kind of put it to be 20-7. But you're right. I mean, we were a 7-6 ball game for a long time, and I think coming out of that game, I think guys. We've adopted something in our program where it's how we play, not who we play. And so we've really tried to make sure the focus is always on us. And I think the disappointment comes where, we have a high standard for ourselves. We don't want to not have a killer instinct. We want to have that so that we can put people away, so that we know how to overcome some of those key plays that didn't go in our favor. And it doesn't matter if it's St. Thomas, doesn't matter, if it's any GLIAC opponent, anybody that we've played this year. We want to make sure that the standard and the expectation remains high for ourselves. And I think that's where the disappointment comes in for our team. And I think it's a great place to be. I really like the way that our guys have responded in that way.
How does that go into this game against Davenport this week? Homecoming,
Mhm.
you're going to see them again later in the season too.
Right.
How does that standard kind of go into this week, and really maybe the competitive game against such a great team in St. Thomas gets you ready for this game this week?
Yeah, I think, first of all, it's homecoming. There's going to be a lot of good energy around that. So I think that really bodes well for us. I also think, our schedule, you mentioned St. Thomas, but, you go back to Moorhead and Northwood, like quality opponents. If you're looking at what they're doing right now, both those teams are performing really well. I think our non-conference schedule up to this point has got us ready for who we're going to face here in the future. And so expect a greatly competitive game with Davenport here this week. And yet I think our guys have shown great resiliency. We have shown the ability to just keep playing, keep approaching practice, continue to go into Saturdays with just the right mindset and the right mentality to where we're going to keep attacking, we're going to keep fighting, we're going to keep battling, and we're going to continue to try to get things better and better all the time. And I just love our group. I mean, they've been extremely coachable. They've been willing to go where we want them to go, and clearly we just need to keep working on a few things, and we're really close to really getting things the way that we all want them to be.
Coach, digging into some statistics at this point last year, if a certain amount of points scored in 2025, you're 36% above that mark. Is that a product of kind of having this offense in for 4 semesters and really being able to kind of embed the roots in the guys that are having a hand in running it?
For sure. I think when you look at probably just the maturity of the program in general, you look at the offense being able to have time to work out the kinks and and I think too the development of our players, right? I mean, we're still really young offensively if you look at our personnel, and yet guys have grown, they've gotten faster, they've gotten a little thicker, they've learned the offense and the tweaks and the nuances a little bit better, and it's more clear for them. And so, yeah, I think, with time, everything gets better. And I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that there's just a more mature group that's out there. There's a more confident group that's out there. They've been able to get a lot of reps underneath their belts. And, hopefully that comes to more fruition as we keep going along. Really, really proud of the offense in a lot of ways. And we're still going to challenge them. And we're still going to make sure that, until we really start scoring points and hitting all the explosives that we want to hit and executing every category that we want to execute, we're going to keep the hammer down and make sure that we keep getting better all the time.
Does the approach change for Davenport knowing that you'll face them later in the season? Oftentimes you don't get a second look at a team.
Right.
So do you go into this one trying to, point out some key factors of what did they do, or maybe from a scouting standpoint of what are we trying to accomplish on that front, as well as put together 4 quarters of good football?
Right. It's a good question. I think, with us being only 4 games in, this is the 4th game, and I think we're still trying to get better ourselves. We've only got 2 games on them from this year that they've played so far, and so I think we just got to make sure that we're trying to execute our stuff the best it can be. I think they're going to be who they're going to be. We're going to be who we're going to be. You try to find a little mix of things that you can probably attack each other with. But, the good thing about our schedule with how we set it up, we don't see them until well later in the season. So it's not like there's only a couple-week break. We get kind of some time to breathe, and, there's probably going to be a lot of other things schematically on both sides of the ball, or both groups, that probably do some things differently as the season goes on. And so, I'm not thinking about when we play them next time at all. I think what I'm thinking about more is just making sure our team is more prepared and ready to fix the things that we haven't done well, and to make sure that we're continually attacking moving forward.
Does Murphy Law feel like you sometimes when you're coaching? And I say that because you could have kicked the field goal in the first quarter. You could have gone for it on fourth down in the fourth quarter, and those are easy things to flip a coin over.
Sure.
But does that drive you nuts a little?
I mean, I think you can always go back, and hindsight's always 20/20, and you can always question things, and yet, I think there's kind of formulas that we look at. There's analytics, but yet I think there's also the feel of the confidence of our team, right? And so, let's just take for fourth down example on the offensive side. I'm super confident with our offense being able to go for fourth downs a lot and get them. And yet, I think what we saw Saturday was there was a fourth down we didn't get, and just the way that they were playing us, the way that we maybe didn't execute it. The team has got to be able to perform those in order for us to still have 100% confidence that we can get those. And so there's game time decisions that you have to make sometimes. And you can always go back and question everything, but I would go back and say this too is it's never one play, it's never one side of the ball, it's never one scenario. It's a 4-quarter game that you have to execute nonstop, and everybody's got to carry their weight. You can't really ever put kind of the weight of one decision or two decisions on just one or two things. And so, we just have to be better all the time. We got to be able to continue to keep getting ourselves into better situations. And, I want to look at myself too to make sure that I'm making all the right decisions and make sure I put our team in the best spots too.
You get a real simple question. That was a learning weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, every weekend's learning weekend, right? It's the tough love type thing. We don't win a set the whole weekend. That's a really hard pill to swallow. Friday was very difficult. We did not perform the way we're capable of, and it's hard. I mean, they're trying. They're out there trying. They're just not executing the way we need to execute. And you get, everyone deals with this in athletics, right? Like, once you start losing, it's contagious, right? You start to just think you're not good enough. Every moment where something bad happens, you're like almost expecting it, you're waiting for it to happen. And that causes you to kind of lean into that negativity. And even when we get a lead, like Saturday, and Saturday I would kind of say we were coming out of it. Friday was brutal. Friday was absolutely brutal. But Saturday, we performed relatively okay against a quality opponent. Duluth is a very good team, and we lost 25-22, 25-22, 25-23. Now that last set, we were up 17-10, feeling really good about ourselves. And Duluth called timeout, and we come out of the timeout. Server misses the serve barely, very close. Then we get ace twice in a row, and so within 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you give the other team 3 points, and then it's really easy, even though the score is 17-13, to go, is it happening again? And then you start to lean into it, you start to have that doubt, and then you're not performing the way we had literally been performing 15 minutes, 5 minutes earlier, and you end up losing the set 25-23. And so, yeah, a lot to learn, a lot to grow from, but the team that performed this weekend is not the team I know, and so, again, I hope Saturday was kind of slowly coming out of it, and we're ready to go on Friday. But yeah, that was a tough weekend, no doubt.
Coach, when you have back-to-back matches and back-to-back sets and back-to-back days, do you process the trip as a whole weekend, or do you try to pick points of, like you said on Saturday, where the team is coming out of it and we were on the up here and doing the right things and playing how we know how to play?
Yeah, it's situational, but this weekend it was totally compartmentalized. What just happened, learn from it. It didn't happen anymore because it was going poorly. So to live in it would be really idiotic, right? So you just try to figure out what happened, how can we make it better, flush it. And now you get on the bus on Saturday and you're heading back, and Sunday, Monday, we're processing the whole weekend, what happened as a whole, where were some moments, where we look good, where were some moments where we really need to identify it, and that was taken care of yesterday in film. So yesterday's film was all about the weekend and learning, and then now we've kind of flushed that weekend, extracted all the information we can from it, and now we're focused on, the start of conference play here on Friday. And a lot of what's happening is 100% me and how I scheduled. I scheduled a very difficult stretch, right? Like 7 of the 8 teams were in the NCAA tournament last year, and the one team that wasn't, which is Duluth, who is perennially in the NCAA tournament. They just happened to have a rough year last year. So you're basically saying 8 teams are NCAA tournament teams, 3 of which I really thought we had an opportunity to beat. We didn't. And so, that does fall on me in terms of how I scheduled. And I need to be better at that and be aware of that team, because I knew this team was going to need some help just because of who we lost and what we're trying to do. I am disappointed how we performed, but ultimately we just have to be better and focus and turn the page as quickly as we can. Right when that Duluth match ended, one of the first things I said. A lot of people don't want to turn the page. Teams that scheduled, teams that they knew they could beat and get some confidence in going, they're like wanting to live in this moment. I was like, let's get through this and move on.
Does it kind of serve as a reset with the beginning of conference that, it's, when your aspirations are to make the NCAA tournament, it's simple, win the GLIAC tournament or win the league and put yourself in a good position?
Yeah. It's really easy to talk about it. The question will be posed with that we can't answer until Friday is what happens when Davenport does something good? How are we responding? Are we letting the feelings we had last weekend linger into this weekend? We're working really hard to quell those nerves or those expectations, but it's human nature. And so as coaches, we're just trying to inspire confidence. And because again, the reality is, like, I look at Thursday and we lost to Barry. The sets were relatively close for the most part. And they were unbelievable. They had a right side who's, I think, the best player in the country. And so you can't let the results necessarily impact your approach. And so I think the girls are in a good headspace. Lots of film, lots of meetings. Practice was good yesterday. And so we can only take it day by day. And right now I think we're inspiring confidence in ourselves and each other. And so just kind of got to move on.
Talked to Shane, we've talked to Mike, and they had kind of learning weekends. How much of a learning weekend did you have?
I wouldn't call it learning. I call it growth weekend. I think Thursday we underperformed. We played a good team in Northwood, but the game was there for the taking, and we didn't take advantage of it. And we had a lot of conversation after that game, and then we came out Saturday and we played the best game we've played all year. And we played really well on Saturday against another good team in Cedarville. Cedarville's probably the best team we've played. And I thought we were the better team on the day, probably deserved a little bit more. So overall, I think it was a good growth week. The question is, can we stack on top of that? And that's got to be our mentality going into this weekend in conference games, is can we play every game like we played Saturday? We know they have the potential. The standard's been set. That's the team that needs to show up every single game. And so it was good to see that, because we've seen glimpses here and there. We've not seen a 90-minute game that we've put together where we've been fairly dominant, especially against a good side.
Coach, is there something that you changed with 4 matches and 3 ties to maybe push the offense a little bit more to capitalize and finish chances? I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to score goals to win, and not that ties aren't great, but
Yeah.
you want the win at the end of the day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We want to score goals. We want to win games. I haven't had a problem with our offensive production. Saturday we had 3 amazing chances. We get a bit unlucky. We hit the post. Keeper, pulls a great save out of her bag in the first half. And then there's opportunity there. It's us getting a little bit better in possession. I think we're not quite creating as many chances as we can because we're a bit, maybe careless isn't the right word, but a little bit lax in possession sometimes as we get into the attacking third. And so I'm happy with our shape. I'm happy with us, getting on the ball and having opportunities to go forward. It's what we do when we go forward. So I don't think scoring goals is going to be a problem once we figure it out. And I think we're close. We've broken through a couple of times, and in each game we've had our fair share, and not even our fair share. We've had a couple of chances here and there. How do we go from 3 amazing chances to 6 to 8? And the more of those you create, the more goals you score. So no, I don't think we change things. I think we have to continue to get better at what we're already doing and do it more consistently. And again, that's what I was really excited about on Saturday. Again, arguably the best team we've played all year. We broke them down fairly well and multiple times. Now the end product, could it be better? Absolutely. but I don't think there's a lot to be changed. It's keep going with what's working, and can we do it more?
On the flip side, talking to you before the season started, taking pride in being a well-set defensive team. I think we've seen that. What have you liked about the defensive side of the ball, starting from, goaltender and kind of working your way out?
Yeah, I think if we look at all of our games so far, we haven't given up a lot of chances. We've given up some decent chances, but not a lot. And so, Jill's been great when she's been called into action. She's done her job really well. And again, I said this last week, it's almost harder when you're not being asked to make a lot of saves to step up and make that big one after you've been stagnant for 15 or 20 minutes. But what I have enjoyed about our defensive line, like we have 2 new additions, right? Our left center back and our left outside back weren't natural positions from last year that turned over. It's really 2 new girls. Those 4 have gotten on the same page really quickly. What's great about our back line as well is they have a high level of communication, I think a good understanding, but they also have a midfield in front of them and forwards in front of them that work defensively. So I think when we talk about defending, it's true team defending. All 11 players on the field are involved in how we defend, and I think they have taken a lot of pride in that, and we've seen the outcome of that. We give away a ball that leads to the Northwood goal. Northwood didn't break us down. A lot of our defensive problems we create by trying to play, and that's okay. There's going to be growing pains there. But when we look at teams truly breaking us down and being better than us, we haven't seen a lot of that. And I think the girls' desire to keep the ball out of our own net is great. We'd certainly do them a lot of favors if we could go bang 1 or 2 in, because I think you're always playing when you're tied, you're always playing with that what if. We're one mistake or one decision away from going down, and so I've been really impressed with us defensively. We've spent a lot of time on that. We've talked about it a lot. The girls have stepped up, and they do take a lot of pride in it, and that's something we'll continue throughout the rest of the season.
Conference season begins, your first road trip, Roosevelt and Parkside. What do you expect to see there? And the 48-hour window, if you got to play 90 minutes of soccer in 48 hours, how do you put together 2 great games, 2 great 90 minutes?
Yeah. Well, I think it's absolutely possible. I think there's a lot of excitement. Again, we're coming off of a good performance. Stepping into conference, it's a new season now. And, we're here to take care of our conference business regardless of what's happened in our non-con games. And again, we've got to take those next steps. I think Roosevelt and Parkside are going to be 2 teams that work really hard. But I think they're both gettable games if we play well. And I truly feel that way about just about any game we're going to play this season. If we play well, good things are going to happen. And so I think we go in with the mentality that we're taking the game to them, both games. Regardless of who we play, we're taking the game to them. We're not changing for them. We're gonna make teams adapt to us. And so I think the girls they're in a really good place right now. We just gotta, we gotta continue on the path that we've started. But I think we're all excited to get on the road. This will be our first away trip, which will be really fun. And I think a change of scenery will do everyone good. But I think the excitement is there. I never have a problem with the work rate from the team. They always show up ready to play. Can the soccer product match our intensity? Can the soccer product match our work rate? That's the question that we're constantly asking, and we have an opportunity to do that both Friday and Sunday.
Before the road
Yeah.
trip, you said it was going to be one of the toughest.
Yep.
2 ties.
Yeah.
Mean, obviously, it could have been different. There's things that you probably want back.
For sure.
Are you happy with that road trip at the
Yeah,
end of the day?
yeah. I think at the end of the day, you'll take it for sure. If say you get 2 points off those teams, I think you're happy with that. Could have been 6 points, should have been 4 points. We got 2, so we'll take that. I think the message to the guys was, feel the pain. Understand that it's going to take all of 90 minutes against these teams to get wins. So, but the fact that we were in a position to win that game says a lot about their character and where they're at. So it was a really good weekend. Some top performances from guys. Obviously, Owen getting Defensive Player of the Week is huge for the team and for himself. But there was a lot of individual performances that were very good in both games. So pleased with the trip. But as you know, it's on to the next one. We've got a big one on Friday. And we learned a lot. We learned a lot about the boys and what they're capable of. But as we've said all along, it's a players' team now. So they've got to take it to the next step, not anybody else. So if they want to get more out of this season, they've got to do it themselves. And it's a short season. There's 45 days left. It's a tournament, and so we're on to the next one. Hopefully they can respond well and get all 3 points this week at home.
Tune gets that goal, and conversations we've had for a long time was we gotta finish our chances.
Yeah.
That was no doubt finished chance.
Yeah.
I thought that thing was going through the back of the net.
Yeah.
To see that fire and intensity when you have those opportunities and to see it go in now, how much just energy does that give your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think you saw with the celebration how excited they were when he found that goal, and it was a classic goal for us and how we found it. So it was awesome to see. But Tune will tell you that he missed 2 sitters on the weekend, and he's not pleased with his performance. And I think that sends the message to the guys that it's still not good enough. It was a great goal, good sequence of play from the boys, but he's going to want more back as a striker, and I think that's good to be hungry. But yeah, it was an awesome goal, really, really good goal, and they're not scored on a lot, and so to get that goal on the road in the first half after, I think it was a well-earned chance. It's a good finish for him. Second time he scored in the last 2 weeks in the first half. We want to keep that going. We want to get more of that from him. So
Friday conference starts.
Yeah.
Not a 48-hour 2-game period, just one this week.
Yep.
Does it change preparation a little bit? Do things look differently? Because hey, we've only got one this week, so we're going to expect, you always expect more, but
Yeah.
we're going to expect a lot more because we only have one.
I think so. We're not looking at it that way per se because it's always just the next game. But yeah, we're not resting anybody. We don't have to save any minutes for Sunday. There is that in the back of our head for sure. But really, it comes down to just our mentality about being excited about the next opportunity to play. So for us, it's today at training, and then it'll be tomorrow, and then it will be match day at some point, and then we'll get to that point. So it's always about the next one, like we've been talking about. But when we talk about Parkside itself, it's a traditional GLIAC power. It's a GLIAC game, so they're all tough, they're all close, and it's going to take us learning the lessons that we had last year, and this is the moment. This is their moment to prove that they learned those lessons. And so, again, it's on the players to accomplish that goal this Friday.
Goalkeeping for you continues,
Yeah.
to impress.
Yeah.
To have that kind of,
Huge.
in the back and
Yeah.
not really have to worry about it. Not that you don't, but
Yep.
to have that piece and then surround it with everybody else, it's got to be a relief, especially going into conference season.
Absolutely. He's been phenomenal. He's as advertised. When you get a player of his age, obviously a transfer who's competed at this level and had success, it's going to be an instantaneous impact. But what I think is hard for the outside to see is his personality on and off the field. He's just a tremendous human being, great teammate, great character, and so it's not just the performance on the field that gives us a peace of mind. It's just this overall temperament and how he cares about the guys and the leadership that he brings. So it's been huge to have that 2 goals in 4 games. Nothing he could do about that wonder goal from Lake Erie was such a finish. But it's huge, and I think it gives confidence to the back line. They're playing well. They send that confidence forward. So it all works together. So our stuff's been massive for us. Yep.
You get 3.
There you go.
3's better than 1.
I like that. Yep.
Thanks, Coach.
Very good.
Thanks, Coach.